Alright, so in this video I thought I'd show you guys how to feed your Crested Gecko crickets. First off, Crested Geckos should never be fed only crickets. They should be fed crickets with Crested Gecko diet. You can feed your Crested Gecko crickets as often as once per week. If you do feed your Crested Gecko once per week, you should coat your crickets with a calcium powder without D3. You can do that by just taking a plastic bag and filling it with calcium powder without D3 that you can get at most reptile stores, and just putting the crickets in that bag and shaking it around lightly, and the crickets will kind of get coated in it, and then you can feed them to your Crested Gecko. Another thing that you always have to do is gut load your crickets. Gut load meaning feeding them healthy, good food for your gecko before you feed your cricket to your gecko. That being because crickets do not have very high nutritional value by themselves. So basically, if you feed them a good healthy meal before you feed them to your gecko, then that nutrients will be passed to your gecko. This can be accomplished by feeding them most vegetables or anything like that, carrots or fruits, as well as a fruit that has a lot of water in it, like maybe like a cherry or something. That way they get their water out of it, since if you put a water dish inside of a cricket container, they'll usually drown in it. So when you are feeding your Crested Gecko crickets, make sure that you definitely put your gecko into a separate tank from its normal one, and only use paper towels as a substrate. That being because, as you might be able to tell, Crested Geckos aren't the most accurate hunters, and so they might lunge at a cricket and miss and bite into loose substrate, which is definitely a bad thing if they ingest that. Also, it can be bad if you put crickets in the tank. They can get lost, and then the crickets may actually bite your gecko. So definitely never put crickets inside of their tank. Another big thing is to check the size of your crickets. The crickets should be no longer than the space between your gecko's eyes. Typically what I do is I just usually get the smaller crickets at like PetSmart or things like that, and that way they're always smaller, and the geckos generally do not have a problem finding them and eating them. So that's about it. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for some more videos. Thanks, guys.